a very warm welcome to all the new joinees and a big thank you to all of you. I tell all my students, and this is a story I tell them, which is a saying in Africa. And listen very carefully to this saying. And it says like this that when every morning a gazelle gets up in Africa, a gazelle एक डियर की एक हिरण की प्रजाति होती है. So every morning when a gazelle gets up in Africa, it says to itself that I must run faster than the fastest lion, otherwise I will be eaten up. And every morning when a lion gets up in Africa, the lion also says to himself that I must run faster than the slowest gazelle, otherwise I will starve to death. And I tell them that it doesn't matter whether you're a lion or a gazelle. What is important is that when the sun comes up, you should all start running. But gone are those times. Where can you run? You are sitting at home doing nothing. And when you are doing nothing, सब तरह के विचार मन में आते हैं. All kinds of thoughts come into your mind, some positive and mostly negative. Today, as we move forward, as we go forward, I'm going to say that why you should not bring in negative thoughts into your mind, and fill your mind with more and more positive things. Please ask questions whenever you have any doubt. Do not hesitate in asking questions, because no learning is complete unless the questions are asked. In English language, the most important letter that I consider is the W, from which originate most of the questions. And I insist that amongst that, again, the most important W is the question, why? Not only should you know the answers to which, when, where, what, you must try and know the answers to why. You must learn to question the obvious. Had Newton not questioned the falling apple when he was sitting under the tree, he would never have discovered or invented gravity. And I gave another example, which I ask whenever I sit in a car or enter into a plane. You must have seen a car seat belt. This car seat belt, it provides you safety in the event of an accident. This strap goes over your shoulders and fits into the buckle, so that the seat belt prevents you from coming forward at the time of an accident. But if any of you have traveled in an aeroplane or in an aircraft, you will find that the seat belt is loosely tied over the stomach, and there is nothing to prevent the forward movement of the top half of your torso. I asked this question to the pilot, to an airline staff, to the air hostess, to the steward, that I'm not feeling comfortable. Why can't you have the seat belt of the aircraft like that of the car? Believe me, none of them have been able to give me an answer to date. If any of you find an answer to this, do let me know. Send a mail to the student relations. Send a mail, or if during this lecture you have an answer, write it down and send it to me. I'll give you an example. Of how you must have all heard of this theory that slow and steady wins the race. I'll give you an example how this theory has taken a new shape in the world of management.
Once upon a time, a turtle and a rabbit had an argument about who was faster. They decided to settle the argument with a race. The turtle and the rabbit both agreed on a route and started off the race. The rabbit shot ahead and ran briskly for some time. Then, seeing he was far ahead of the turtle, he thought he'd sit under a tree for some time and relax before continuing the race. He sat under the tree and soon fell asleep. The turtle, plodding on, overtook him and soon finished the race. Emerging as the undisputed champ, the rabbit woke up and realized that he'd lost the race. The moral of the story is that slow and steady wins the race. This is the version of the story that we've all grown up with. But our version of the story continues. The rabbit was disappointed at losing the race, and he did some thinking. He realized that he'd lost the race only because he had been overconfident, careless, and lax. If he had not taken things for granted, there's no way the turtle could have beaten him. So, he challenged the turtle to another race. The turtle agreed. This time, the rabbit went all out and ran without stopping from start to finish. He won by several miles. The moral of the story? Fast and consistent will always beat the slow and steady. It's good to be slow and steady, but it's better to be fast and reliable. But the story doesn't end here. The turtle did some thinking this time and realized that there's no way he can beat the rabbit in a race the way it was currently formatted. He thought for a while and then challenged the rabbit to another race, but on a slightly different route. The rabbit agreed. The turtle and rabbit started off. In keeping with his self-made commitment to be consistently fast, the rabbit took off and ran at top speed until he came to a broad river. The finishing line was a couple of kilometers on the other side of the river. The rabbit sat there, wondering what to do. In the meantime, the turtle trundled along, got into the river, swam to the opposite bank, continued walking, and finished the race. The moral of the story? First, identify your core competency, and then change the playing field to suit your core competency. The story still hasn't ended. The turtle and rabbit by this time had become pretty good friends, and they did some thinking together. Both realized that the last race could have been run much better. So, the turtle and rabbit decided to do the last race again, but to run as a team this time. They started off, and this time the rabbit carried the turtle till the riverbank. There, the turtle took over and swam across with the rabbit on his back. On the opposite bank, the rabbit again carried the turtle, and they reached the finishing line together. Both the turtle and rabbit felt a greater sense of satisfaction than they'd felt earlier. The moral of the story? It's good to be individually brilliant and to have strong core competencies. But unless you're able to work in a team and harness each other's core competencies, you'll always perform below par, because there will always be situations at which you'll do poorly and someone else does well. Teamwork is mainly about situational leadership, letting the person with the relevant core competency for a situation take leadership. And that is the end of the story.
So this ability to bring in management principles, alter time-tested theories, this ability to think through problems, take decisions, lead from the front, bounce back when the chips are down, is what makes IMA the Mecca of management education in India. And this is exactly why nearly 70% of corporate India is today headed by IMA so this
Alumni.
ability to actually uh, take a new look at time tested theories, this ability to think through problems, to take decisions, lead from the front, bounce back when the chips are down, makes IMA the mecca of management education so this in the country. So this is what makes 70% of corporate India CEO from IIM Ahmedabad. I've made a list of some companies and also their CEOs and founders who are all alumni of IIM Ahmedabad. Sanjeev Bigchandani, PGP Make My Trip, Deep Kalra, Axis Bank, Amitabh Chaudhary. You name a corporate, 70% of corporate India is headed by IIM Ahmedabad. And so it is this culture, this ethos, and this resilience that our faculty is inculcating in FOSTIIMA students. This is a promise that we make to you, and this is also our tagline that give us 2 years of life, and we'll transform your careers, we'll transform your lives, and we'll make you into super managers. We'll make you into orbit jumpers. ये जो ऑर्बिट जंपर है ये क्या होता है एंड दिस इज एक्चुअली रियल स्टोरी अबाउट धीरूभाई अंबानी द फादर ऑफ मुकेश अंबानी व्हेन ही वाज वंस आस्क्ड कि सर आप इतनी जल्दी इतना प्रोग्रेस कर गए हो आप यू मस्ट हैव रब्ड लॉट ऑफ पीपल द रॉन्ग वे बहुत लोगों को आपने नाराज किया हो हाउ डू यू मैनेज टू सर्वाइव धीरूभाई अंबानी ने उनको यही जवाब दिया भाई ऐसा तो है कि लोग मुझसे नाराज तो होते हैं but by the time they can really react and cause harm to me I am beyond their reach I am in a completely different orbit I would like to end my lecture but before I do that I will leave you with a couple of problems. The important thing that I talked of today was stimulation of the mind, stimulation of your mental faculties, looking for answers, questioning the obvious, looking for answers where there exist none. And there have been several such situations where the thinkers have not been able to find solutions. Two of such problems I've already given you. Two more I'll give you before I end this lecture. The first one related to the lion and the gazelle. If you have to save one of them, who will you save? The lion or the gazelle? Or is there a way to save both of them? Think about it. Let me know if you come to an answer. The second one was the seatbelt thing, that of the car, and the other one of the aircraft. The third is a classic paradoxical situation, which has been there for some time, and I'll read it out for you. This is a story of Greece, and several years ago, there was a lawyer in Greece, and he had a student or a trainee or an intern who was actually very, very poor, and he could not pay the lawyer the training fees that the lawyer demanded of him. They both had an agreement, and that deal was like this that the student says that I will pay you the fee the day I win my first case in the court. So he decided to go and practice in the court, and he told his lawyer teacher that I will pay you the fees the day I will win my first case in the court. And the lawyer teacher agreed. एक साल हो गया 2 साल हो गया कई साल बीत गए लेकिन फीस उस स्टूडेंट की फीस नहीं आई so that lawyer teacher decided to file a case and sue the student of his और अब बड़े ध्यान से सुनना जो मैं आपको बताने वाला हूं the teacher thought to himself that if I win this case as per the law and the judgment of the court the student will definitely have to pay me और अगर मैं ये केस हार गया तो फिर this case will be won by the student which will be the first case that he will win. And as per his agreement with me, he will still have to pay me. So either way, I am a winner and I get paid. The student also thought, just like the lion and the gazelle, the student also thought कि अगर मैं ये केस जीत गया तो फिर I don't have to pay the teacher because that will be the judgment of the court कि भाई you have won this case so you don't have to pay the teacher. और अगर मैं ये केस हार गया so anyways I would not have won my first case in the court so I still don't have to pay the teacher. Either way I am a winner. ऐसी सिचुएशन में बताओ who is right, the teacher or the student? Think about this and understand. Last poser of the day, which again will set you thinking. That once upon a time, a very senior manager was traveling on a road. And at one point of time, the road was getting divided into two routes, almost like a Y, one going towards the left and one going towards the right. On the left road was written heaven, and on the right road was written hell. This super manager had to decide that he had to go to heaven or to hell. Unfortunately, what had happened was कि जो इस रोड के डायरेक्शंस थे वो अदला बदली हो गए थे, वो गिर गए थे. So he did not know which is the way to heaven and which is the way to hell. There were two people at that crossing who were there. एक उसमें हमेशा सच बोलता था, एक हमेशा झूठ बोलता था. लॉयर उस मैनेजर को ये पता था कि कौन सच बोल रहा, ये पता था कि एक सच बोल रहा है, एक झूठ बोल रहा है, लेकिन ये नहीं पता था कि कौन सच बोल रहा है, कौन झूठ. उसने उन दोनों से सवाल किया कि बताइए कैसे मैं हेवन की तरफ जा सकता हूं. दोनों से अलग अलग जवाब आया and he was confused. So my question to you is that is there any one single question that this manager can ask these two persons separately, one single question, which will give him the answer and make him decide which is the route to heaven? One single question he has to ask the two people, and he should be able to make up his mind without any iota of doubt that which is the route to heaven. Two people over there, one always telling the truth, the other one always telling the untruth. The manager knows that this fact, but he does not know who is a truthful person and who is a liar. Think about it and give an answer. I'll wait for the same. With this, I come to the end. There have been several other questions, some repetitive, some others. We will respond to them definitely in due course of time. All the best and welcome once again to FOSTIIMA Business School, all of you. And I hope I am audible to everybody. And I'm requesting the host that for a moment the host should unmute everybody. So all participants are going to be unmuted for a short while. Host, please, can you unmute everybody?
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to say hello to everyone and let's hear a loud hello from all of you. So hello everybody.
Hi,
Hello,
sir.
sir.
Hello,
Hello, sir.
How is 2020 treating you?
very bad.
Very well till now, sir.
Okay, I knew the answer to that question. Share with you uh, a small video which also should give you an idea of what actually is in store for you. This is a video by Google CEO Mr. Sundar Pichai.
100 years ago, class of 1920 graduated into the end of a deadly pandemic. 50 years ago, the class of 1970 graduated in the midst of Vietnam War. And nearly 20 years ago, the class of 2001 graduated just months before 9/11. There are notable examples like this. They had to overcome new challenges, and in all cases, they prevailed. The long arc of history tells us we have every reason to be hopeful. So, be hopeful. I grew up without much access to technology. We didn't get our first telephone till I was 10. I didn't have regular access to a computer until I came to America for graduate school. Under television, when we finally got one, only had one channel. So imagine how awestruck I am today to be speaking to you on a platform that has millions of channels. By contrast, you grew up with computers of all shapes and sizes. The ability to ask a computer anything, anywhere, the very thing I've spent my last decade working on, is not amazing to you. That's okay. It doesn't make me feel bad. It makes me hopeful. There are probably things about technology that frustrate you and make you impatient. Don't lose that impatience. It'll create the next technology revolution and enable you to build things my generation could never dream of. My father spent the equivalent of a year's salary on my plane ticket to the US so I could attend Stanford. It was my first time ever on a plane. But when I eventually landed in California, things weren't as I had imagined. America was expensive. A phone call back home was more than $2 a minute. And a backpack cost the same as my dad's monthly salary in India. For all the talk about the warm California beaches, that water was freezing cold. On top of all that, I missed my family, my friends, and my girlfriend, now my wife, back in India. Bright spot for me during this time was computing. At that same moment, the internet was literally being built all around me. The year I arrived at Stanford was the same year the browser mosaic was released, which would popularize the World Wide Web and the internet. The summer I left was the same summer that a graduate student named Sergey Brin met a prospective engineering student named Larry Page. These two moments profoundly shaped the rest of my life. But at the time, I didn't know it. It took me a while to realize that the internet would be the single best way to make technology accessible to more people. And as soon as I did, I changed course and decided to pursue my dreams at Google. Inspired by the wonder that the first browser created in me, I led the effort to launch one called Chrome in 2009. I drove the effort to help Google develop affordable laptops and phones. Believe me when I say I saw none of this coming when I first touched down in the state of California 27 years ago. The only thing that got me from there to here, other than luck, is a deep passion for technology and an open mind. So take the time to find the thing that excites you more than anything else in the world. Not the thing your parents want you to do, or the thing all your friends are doing, or that society expects you to do. I know you're getting a lot of advice today, so let me leave you with one. Be open, be impatient, be hopeful. If you can do that, history will remember the class of 2020, not for what you lost, but for what you achieved. You have the chance to change everything.
About 2020. Of course, yes, this is a challenging time, but there have been many such challenges in the past. And people like Sundar Pichai have overcome such challenges. And you also, this temporary phase of 2020 is something which has come and which will go away in a couple of months. Do not get disheartened. Do not be uh, over worried. Think positive, and I'm sure all of you are good enough to create history. I'm going to discuss 4 problems right now. So we have already circulated those problems. I do hope that some of you who had already given me their solutions and the others would have applied their mind to it. So uh, uh, we're going to hear what you have to say about these problems. I had said, and in the mail also it had been communicated to you that we are going to discuss the solutions of these 4 questions that I had talked of in the very first session that I had taken. Now, uh, we are going to follow a particular protocol while uh, we discuss these questions. Anybody who has to make a point will raise his hand or her hand, and when they raise their hands, then I'm going to ask them to talk one by one. You will get a car seat belt has 2 straps going over your body, one wrapped around the shoulder and the other over the stomach, and it ends into the buckle. His point is that seat belt, but then how does the seat belt? We are talking of the safety provided by the seat belt. Anyone else has anything to say? Three participants have raised hands. So, host Mansi Dadish, please put them Mansi Dadish, Pallavi Kumari, Vanshika Garg.
Because they run in sky and we don't have such accidents up there. So no forward motion, but plane crashes and due to gravity, the falls. That's why to protect us from falling, we need our lower body to be stable. So only waist belts are required. So that is what my answer is.
Okay, all right. You made a good point. Huh? Host Pallavi Kumari, please.
The aircraft seatbelt that is used to keep you off of the ceiling during turbulence. And when aeroplane is actually crashes, it won't help you. Sir, am I audible?
Yeah, very much.
And so, a seatbelt that is designed to keep you in your seat, especially during high, and it actually faces high maneuvers encountered. So that's why there's a difference between their seat belts.
Okay, good. Vanshika Garg.
Yeah, sir. Am I audible?
Yes.
Good evening, sir. Sir, I feel that there is a difference in the seat belts of an aircraft and a car because if there is a car accident, we directly bang onto the mirror, front mirror, and that is more risky. So that is why we have 2 seat belts so that we do not bang our head onto the mirror. But whereas on an aircraft, there is no front mirror ahead. We have more forward seats. So by chance, if there is a crash or turbulence, we will bang only in front of the seat, and I feel that is less risky as compared to we banging onto the mirror. So that is why there may be 1 and 2 seat belts for both.
Okay. But is there any harm in having a double wraparound seat belt in an aircraft? It will prevent banging against the seat also, no? Pratik Parekh.
Hello, good evening, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, very much.
Yes, sir. So actually, sir, a car is much prone to be collided because of the momentum that would be happening, so that the passenger does not bang on the front mirror, and but a plane would go down, and then the passenger is much more prone to hit the ceiling of the fan. So I think that's why the seat belts are adjusted like that.
Mhm. Okay, well, the point that you made is understood. The question here, which everybody is missing, is that what is the harm in providing a double wraparound seat belt in the aircraft? Will it not add more safety in the event of a whatever, you hit the ceiling or hit the front seat, or in the event of a crash or whatever, in the event of an accident of a plane? Will it not be more helpful? We have Akriti Singh.
So basically, the car seat belts are meant to protect us from the accidents. It is it is more prone to accidents, and rather than in flights, it's just for the turbulence, that jerks we get during the turbulence. It cannot save us from the accident or the plane crash.
So, so that's right. So she has almost got it right. I think I've got more hands here, but then we would like to end this right now. So this is absolutely the correct answer. When most of you got it right, and I got the answers on the um, um, mail also from many of you. So yes, the car seat belt is that way because it is supposed to arrest your forward motion in the event of a collision or an accident, which could even be fatal, and therefore the seat belt saves your life. In the case of an aircraft, the seat belt, no matter whether they put a car like seat belt or whatever, in the event of a crash, it will be so violent and so massive that the seat belt is not going to save your life at all. So the seat belt is only meant to arrest the forward motion or the upward motion or whatever in the event of air turbulence and at the time of landing and takeoff. So therefore, this seat belt performs very well for turbulence, for landing, and arresting the forward motion. And this is therefore the uh, seat belt which is satisfactory for the aircraft. Let's go to problem number 2 now. So this goes like this. There is a saying in Africa, every morning when a gazelle gets up, it says to itself that I must run faster than the fastest lion, otherwise I'll get eaten up. And every morning when a lion gets up, it also says to itself that I must run faster than the slowest gazelle, otherwise I will starve to death. Is there a way that both lion and the gazelle can be saved? And if one of them has to be saved, then which one? Anybody? Okay. Post Karan Indra, please.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, if slowest lion will run towards the fastest gazelle, they both can be saved.
How far, come again? How can both be saved?
If slowest lion will run towards the fastest gazelle, they both can be saved.
If the slowest lion
Will run towards the fastest gazelle.
towards the fastest gazelle,
Yeah.
तो फिर वो खाएगा क्या?
So they both can be saved. That was the question.
नहीं, फिर अगर वो खाएगा नहीं तो कैसे बचेगा?
हाँ तो सर then yeah.
Lion has to eat, na?
But the gazelle will save, na? Then lion will die.
So lion will. So you are saying that both will not be saved. Let the
Then gazelle
be
can be
saved. Let the lion die. Huh?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yes, sir.
But why do you want the lion to die? Why not? Why not the gazelle?
So because it's in the question if you can save one, so I can save gazelle.
No, one of them has to be saved. Which one?
Gazelle.
क्यों बचाना चाहिए? ये मेरे को बताओ ना. Why should the gazelle be saved?
Sir, because we have to save only one animal, so that's why I opt gazelle.
नहीं, पर आपको लायन से दुश्मनी है, गजल से प्यार है?
सर मैं क्वेश्चन का आंसर दिया सर बस.
ये तो है, दोनों में से एक तो बच ही सकता है, पर कौन सा बचना चाहिए? ये जवाब है ना, ये सवाल है. 5 participants have raised their hands, please. Pallavi Kumari.
Sir, am I audible?
Yes, very much.
Sir, gazelle, he needs only be the second slowest gazelle, so both can be saved. Because slowest is the most vulnerable to be eaten. So this could be the answer of this question. If you are second slowest, so then they can be saved. He can be saved.
We'll come later to this. Harshad Garg, please.
Sir, the only way we can lion को carnivorous बना दें carnivorous से.
से बोलो.
Sir, lion को carnivorous बना दें carnivorous से. Both are safe.
Oh, तो ठीक है. Within this scenario, who should be saved? Huh? Shubham Kumar.
Hello.
Yeah, bolo.
Sir, I'm audible?
Yeah, very much.
Sir, actually, it is a fight of survival. Sir, which one is strong? It must be survive. If we help any of them, then they become less effective in the fight of survival. So we don't have to save any of them. Their ability can make them save themselves.
ठीक है, पर आप बताओ दोनों में से कौन बचना चाहिए? दोनों में से कोई एक ना एक तो मरेगा ना. अगर लायन तेज दौड़ा तो लायन बच जाएगा, अगर गजल तो गजल मर जाएगी.
Exactly, sir.
और गजल तेज दौड़ी तो लायन मर जाएगा.
Exactly, sir.
तो फिर कौन सा श्रेष्ठ?
Sir, it's dependent, sir. I can't tell anything.
श्रेष्ठ दीप्तिमान.
Hi, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah, sure.
Sir, I'll rather have the lion starve to death, because if there is no lion, then the gazelle doesn't have to get up every day and ask itself the question.
मतलब you don't like the lion, huh? A question to
Yeah,
gazelle.
because every time he'll get hungry, he'll hunt for a gazelle, and every morning the gazelle has to ask itself the question.
Yeah. So you think this world is a better place without the lions, huh?
Maybe it's a preference.
Akriti?
As per me, the person who deserves to run faster for his wish, he should be saved and the person who is not like working.
Vaibhav
So
Dixit. Vaibhav Dixit.
Hello.
Yeah, Vaibhav.
Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, yeah.
So, according to me, Gazelle needs to be saved as her approach towards life is much positive and motivated, as she has to do new thing every day. But when compared to Lion, he is very much negative. Like he is very much less aspiring towards life. He's expecting less.
We are running out of time. Actually, I'll get two more hands, and then I'll tell you the answer. Shubham Pandey.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I think it should be the lion who should survive, because gazillion they will become food of somebody else. The one who can fight for their food should be allowed to live. If you are dying, if you are going to die, you can only run. But the lion is going to fight till the end. It should be the lion who should survive.
Okay. And Ashish Sharma. Ashish Sharma. Last question. Last person I'm taking this for this question. Baki, the others can give their answers on the in the chat box, please. Ashish Sharma.
Hello, I'm audible, sir.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
So, like, according to me, it doesn't matter like it's a lion or a gazelle for the survival of your life. You should keep running and running and running. Sir, हम लोग भी जब सुबह उठते हैं तो like we like go and run for the survival of our life. So यही आंसर होना चाहिए मेरे हिसाब से.
Okay. So, all right. So, I will now conclude this particular question by saying this, that see, both cannot be saved. So, let this be very clear. One of them has to go, because either it is the gazelle who gets eaten up, or it is the lion. Now, in that, most experts believe that it is the lion who should survive, and it is the gazelle who can go. There are 2 or 3 reasons that they give for this. One of those reasons has been brought out by Shubham Pandey. And the other reasons are that in the value chain of animals and the ecology of the universe, lion commands the highest place, and therefore survival of the lion or the tiger is essential for the propagation of the animal world or this value chain. This is reason number one. Reason number two is that ultimately who will the lion feast on? The lion would feast on the slowest gazelle. This gazelle is anyways not a quick gazelle. It is just a slow gazelle. So, and the lion is actually a fit animal. He is a fast lion. So basically, it is something like this, that it's a survival of the fittest. So the fittest survives, and the slowly or the laggards slowly keep moving out, so that we are left with a fit world. So this is what the experts believe in this particular question, but there are many like in this group who like the gazelle more, but I'm sorry the experts don't agree with you. Let's come to problem number 3. This is actually going on to, if once you have read it, then I'll take you to the other page. Yeah, Mansi Dadich has raised her hand. Can somebody host, please?
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, am I audible enough?
Yes, sure.
So according to me, the student will be beneficial in any case. Suppose if he wins the case against the teacher, then there is no need to give the money. But if he loses, he will give the money which he was supposed to give. So no loss was there in the case of student. But in case where his professor wins the, but in case where the professor wins the case, then the student will give the money. But if the professor loses, then the student will be waived off from his fees, which means he only have 50% benefits, whereas the student have 100% benefit. So ultimately, student will be more beneficial than teacher.
Okay. Tripti Agarwal.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah.
So, according to me, I think teacher will be the beneficial one because, as we can see, if a teacher will win, right? So, according to law, anyhow, student have to pay the money because he will get the order from judge, right? So, in that case, he have to pay the uh, fee, and if he lose the win if he lost the case, then according to their deal he have to pay his teacher that whatever is the fees.
So basically, Mansi has talked of the student's view and Tripti has talked of the teacher's view. Can we have Pratik? Yeah, Pratik. No, Pratik is not coming online. Shubham Pandey, please.
Sir, I think it is the student who is right, because if the teacher wins, the student will ultimately lose, which will impose the earlier position in which the student was supposed to give the money to the teacher when he wins. And if the student wins, he will be waived off. So I don't think the teacher should go for the case, and
So
it is the student who is right.
All right. So again, I think there are many more hands which have been raised. I think there are 7, 8 more hands. Somebody is saying the student, somebody is saying the teacher, but we are not coming to the right right answer. So let me make it very clear, right? That as far as this particular situation is concerned, both are absolutely correct in their thinking. Both are absolutely correct in their thinking. But then the situation is that one of them has to be a winner. And how will the winner be decided is the question. Uh, in this situation, somebody just brought forward a point, but fell short of it. So situation happens when two decisions happen which are contrary to each other, then the command of the higher authority always prevails. So, for instance, if at home your view is different from your father's view, you will find that it is your father's view which prevails. If there is a situation that there is a conflict between a state government and the central government, then always you will learn, or if you don't know, or if you know already, then it is always the central government whose view is there which prevails. So in this particular case also, there are two things which have happened. One is a private deal between the student and the teacher. The other will be a judgment of the court. So then, in this situation, if the judgment of the court goes against any of the participants, the participant would have to honor the judgment of the court, irrespective of their private deal. So if the court decides that the teacher is right, then the student will have to pay. And if the court decides that the student is right, then the teacher will not get his fees. So it is basically the judgment of the court which is actually going to prevail. And now I bring you to the last problem, the most difficult of the lot. 4 participants have raised their hand. Let us see who they are. Ayush Bhaskar.
Good evening, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah. अगर किसी को पहले से जवाब पता हो तो मत बताना.
Okay.
Do you know the answer? Or
Yes,
you
sir.
have thought it yourself?
No, sir. I have like brainstormed regarding this question.
Okay, then you give me the answer, please.
Yeah. So, sir, when the first day only you asked this question,
Mhm.
I did all the research, and I found that the question one needs to ask is that we go to a random gatekeeper or the person,
Mhm.
and if I ask that what the other person, if I ask the other person that which door is to
I
heaven,
know
if
what you're saying, huh? All right. So I'll stop you here only, huh? Right? Okay. Surabhi Gupta, next person.
Good evening, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah.
So what will happen is I will ask to one of the person. So if what the other person is going to say, if I
Both of you got it right. So let me tell you the thought process behind this. So they've got it right. So let me tell you the thought process behind this. So there are so one person is a person who's a truthful person, and the other person is a liar. Huh? Now, if you ask them this question, which is the way to heaven? One guy is going to point to the right path, and the other fellow is going to point to the wrong path. So this question is never going to lead you to the answer. So therefore, you go to the next question. You change the direction. I'm trying to tell you the sequence because I stopped these 2 students midway. So then you actually ask them that, do you speak the truth? Now, what is the answer you're going to get from both of them? जो सच्चा है वो कहेगा yes, जो झूठा है वो क्या कहेगा? वो भी कहेगा yes, because उसने सच नहीं बोलना है, वो भी कहेगा yes. So then when you find that both of them are saying the same thing, then you ask the next question. Does your friend speak the truth? And when you ask the next question, does your friend speak the truth? तो दोनों इसका जवाब नेगेटिव में देंगे. The truthful person will also say, my friend does not speak the truth. And the liar will also say that my friend does not speak the truth. And this is the key. This question is the key to the answer, which comes here. And which is what these two were coming to. Surabhi and who was the first one? जो अभी आया था. So which way would your friend point towards if I asked him the way to heaven? And both of them would point towards the wrong way. Which way would your friend point towards if I asked them the way to heaven? And they will both point towards the wrong way. So this is a classic example of logical reasoning to how to arrive at this answer. I don't know how many of you have ever studied logic in your life, and there is this thing that if P then Q. So that is the logic that we all study. And so with this, I come to the end of all the 4 questions. Actually, this could have discussion could have gone on for much longer, but then it's already 6:15, so we have to end. There are some questions, more questions in my chat box. If I see if there's anything needs answering. What is your view on the recent Patanjali? I have already taken this. Yes, I think I have taken all the questions as related to this. If thank you very much, all of you.